Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the next speaker. But before we proceed, let me introduce Encik Mohamad Rahiman, AVP Social Development, Iskandar Region Development Authority, IRDA. Encik Mohamad Rahiman attained his academic and professional experiences from Singapore, United States of America, and certainly Malaysia. He is earnestly thrilled at the escalating borderless world and the tremendous impact with the university-industry interface vis-à-vis the dynamic constituent of human capital development. Prior to his affiliation with Iskandar Region Development Authority, IRDA, about a year ago, he performed training assignments in the areas of knowledge worker and knowledge management. With that, I present you Encik Mohamad Rahiman. Please welcome.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning to everyone, and especially to honorable guests, speakers, and honorable guests, and all my friends in UTHM. I think this is a very worthwhile adventure, and on the part of strategic management planning and practice with UTHM. It's a classic example of how the industry and universities play a role in trying to get a very good outcome, or profitable outcome in a setting. I think we should encourage more of this kind of venture in the future. Okay, today my talk, I'm going to talk about potential avenues for industrial university collaboration as far as the IDR, or Iskandar Development Region projects. Usually when I speak about projects, I mean huge project, not the usual project that we have. Okay, since I've already had the slides given to you, I'm going to run through and peruse through quickly so that we don't have to waste a lot of time in trying to go through again. And as a matter of fact, I also had a chance of introducing the IDR perspective to you in the previous outing. Okay, international positioning of IDR. This is actually just to give you a rough estimate of where the IDR is. It's in south of Johor, and I think locality-wise, we are situated in a very unique position, which is close by to Singapore, as all of you know. Okay, how does the locality of IDR constitute for us being a strategic location? Basically, IDR is about 2,217 square kilometers, which is about 3 times the size of Singapore. It constitutes of 5 different areas of municipality, from Pasir Gudang to MPJB, MPJBT, and some parts of Pontian, and the whole part of Kulai. Basically, if you can see the comparative made here with Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, and of course IDR. What is more important is how I think IDR market itself is to inform businesses that, you know, it is important that business are done in IDR at a cost which is very meager or very low as compared to Singapore. So our task is actually to encourage same standards as Singapore, but at the same time trying to have that at probably a third of the cost. Okay, what is our vision? Our vision is a world-class, sustainable, environment-friendly metropolis. This is what our Prime Minister, Yang Berhormat Dato' Sri Haji Abdullah Badawi mentioned previously. But as a whole, it's a strong sustainable metropolis of national standing. Why sustainable? Is because we don't want to build things big, good, well, and then leave it to be one elephant, or having a proliferating problem that will associate with metropolis. Okay, these are essentially the 5 flagship centers. Not necessarily these are the areas that we only concentrate on, but as you know, in all these flagship that we have here, it is actually to create a ripple effect on more businesses to come in. So for example, let me go to, let's say, B. B here is Nusa Jaya. We are moving to the new Johor New State Admin Center this year in stages. So with that, we're going to bring a lot of traffic or human traffic into JASNAC, which is short for the Johor New State Admin Center. By doing that, we also have, later I'll show you some of the activities that we're going to have, which I think the university especially must take an active role in trying to get them to be involved in the development of this flagship center. We also have, as you know, in this IDR area, a university which is UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, and UITM has set up their campus, their main campus in Kulai, and also recently announced University KL, which is MECD, is going to have their campus in Pasir Gudang. So these are the three areas. Notwithstanding that, it's also to inform you that, although UTHM is not in IDR, I personally, of course, as some of you may know, are actively involved in getting UTHM to be involved in the activities and development of IDR. So which means, because if you can see on the north side, UTHM is just slightly away from the IDR region. Okay, basically this is all. I don't have to explain much. This is what we have here at the moment. So I was telling about Nusa Jaya. I'll explain a bit more about Edu City later. Okay, Ramsar site is the second biggest mangrove area in the world, which we want to preserve it and probably do some ecotourism and some activities there, which is not going to affect the natural setting of the Ramsar Heritage Park. Okay, Pasir Gudang is on the list. Okay, recently there's been a lot of development in the Senai area because of the cargo hub have come in and they have decided to clear up some lands for development in the Senai Skuda area. Okay, this growth corridor is actually in the area whereby currently until year 2010 we are concentrating on this area because, as you know, as I mentioned earlier, the JASNEC, which is going to be set up this year, is going to transfer periodic departments into JASNEC area, which is going to create a lot of ripple effect for businesses and all that. So this is the area that we're going to concentrate on. We're going to move to JB City Center in Danga Bay. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, someone came and asked us, why do we have to move JASNEC into a new location and then leave JB City Center to wither and die, So actually, it's not. What they plan to do is to have JB City Center as a financial center, okay? So which means it's not going to wither and die like they said, so it's going to be at least emphasized on different area, different mode. Okay, the strategic trust. These are the 5 main pillars which rest upon in trying to sustain Iskandar to be a strong and sustainable metropolis of international standing. Based on these 5, we are trying to get it out, and especially I think the roles played by university can be typified in all these 5 areas actually. If you talk about research, you talk about studies, you talk about collaboration with industries. Okay, this is where I think directly universities have a role to play in these 9 different main pillars or drivers of the economy, which I'm going to touch upon a bit later. But basically, this is actually to prepare the universities and the industries on areas which I think are emphasized for these 9 main pillars. However, at the same time, at the same token, I would like to remind you that these 9 areas are not necessarily the only areas that's going to be emphasized or reinforced, because as you know, we live in the free market system. So sometimes we may get companies or MNCs from all over the world who wants to come and do something which is not related here. So that is why the task of university is not only to proliferate the collaboration between university and industries, but it's also to anticipate, what are the coming businesses that come in, so that we can be prepared in as far as human capital is concerned. Okay, I'm not going to touch a bit more on this. This is just a typical incentive in Iskandar. And fiscal incentive, non-fiscal. Okay, these are the targeted service sector, which I think a lot of it has to also do with industries coming in, and we have a lot of inquiries, people coming in, and some of it is set up, which I'm going to explain a bit later also. For example, educational services. I think some of these areas have to have the industries and universities collaborating to produce a certain level of services provided for these targeted services. We are trying to get also the standards of international or global standards, whereby we are trying to get good universities, good high-profile MNCs to come in. Okay, when I say approved qualifying activities, these are the areas which I mentioned earlier that qualify you for the incentive, such as tourism, education, logistic, healthcare, financial services, and creative industries. I think I just touched on a bit of creative industries. A lot of times, universities can and have been able to provide some platform as far as research, human capital supplies, to areas that's very crucial to the creative industries. I think it's been underlined, it's been put aside more or less due to whatever reason it is. I think a lot of Malaysians are very creative in their field of their work. It's just that we are not being highlighted a lot more. So I think a lot of time we need universities to come in and help the industries to at least promulgate the creative industries to a higher level. Okay, latest news, I think this has to do with Note 1. As you know, you probably read in the news, 4.2 billion was invested, or initial investment was set aside for the development of Note 1 by 3 different groups, led by the Mubadala group, which is also very prominent in the Ferrari, in the F1. So they have decided to purchase Note 1, which is actually 2,230 acres, and it's going to be a totally integrated development. What we intend to do here is actually the announcement going to be made in a couple of weeks actually. In actual fact, they had certain time frame to announce that what they're going to do as far as development is concerned. So what we actually in IRDA trying to do is to get them to present to us what they have. You see, it's very unique. Johor, from historically we have learned, do not announce anything when you're not sure, because when you announce, it doesn't take off, and that's the problem that comes in. So I think we have learned from that, and sometimes, when we go to industries or we go to outside and give talk and all that, people keep asking us, why you keep hiding things? Actually we are not hiding things. It's just that we want to be doubly sure that things are done, carry out, and probably an agreement done. It is then that we could announce, because we don't want to have a chicken and egg thing, whereby we announce and it leaked out and then nothing happens. So remember the theme park, Watton theme park. See, there's an example, because it is said that it's done, the deal is done, but actually nothing is done yet. So the news leak out, and then everybody calling us and asking us, about Watton theme park, which we know nothing about, So, okay, the Note 1 has the integrated international city development. What is very unique about this Note 1 is that the agreement is done between SJIC. The SJIC is the South Johor Investment Corporation, which is partly owned by Hazana, the state government, and KWSP. They are the one that negotiate with Mubadala Group on the selling of Note 1 and all that. So, in actual fact, they have come up with a full integrated development, which I think they're going to present in a couple of weeks. What I want to stress here is this. This is where I think universities have to open their ears and look at all this development, because I think, for example, I think UTHM has also one of the attempt that they make is to do, for example, social impact assessment, which I think is very crucial to have all this, because if you can see all this development that comes in, it's quite elaborated, it's quite so scary actually, but I think in one fact, it's a total development whereby totally new, and they're going to do the whole integrated development. So I think this is one example of, another thing which I always mention to Dato' VC just now is that I remember Dr. Lee has this quick wall, which I think is very crucial for UTHM to promote that. I don't know, I'm not Mubadala, so I don't know whether they'll buy it or not, but I think it's one of the examples that I think UTHM has, product that I think is very innovative and very creative, which I think needs to have a platform for the industries to expedite on it, okay? Okay, what is in the news? I think this is more or less, the latest I can tell you is Halliburton has set up their 500 million plant in Taman Technology Park, which is in Johor, in Skudai. So that's the latest. Okay, basically it's just to tell you a comparative example, as mentioned earlier, about why IDR is crucial as far as the trying to market ourselves, or at least put ourselves at a different level whereby we produce as good as or even better services or platform for businesses better than Singapore at a minimum cost when compared to Singapore, a third of the cost maybe. So we're trying to market that. Not necessarily only that, but that's one of the pointers that we want to create. Okay, basically this is what we have as far as economic focus is concerned. I hope the last portion of it, unemployment, is true, because I think to achieve that, universities, industries, and even government like us need to do a lot of work, because like I mentioned to you, not only to prepare what the industry needs, but also to anticipate the labor or the human capital development for the industries. Okay, just basic facts on IRDA. We are a federal state body. We are actually under the Prime Minister's office. We have a federal act that's been that we fall back upon constantly. Maybe to at times we have used it a couple of times to twist arms because nothing works, so we have to use that. Sometimes we use our big boss when nothing get done. So it's part of the actually whole setup. Basically, the CDP, Comprehensive Development Plan, which you can also find in our website, www.irda.com.my. You can see that, you can read that through. Also tells you a lot about what we are heading, what's our master plan. But I'm saying this with the view that it is not necessarily that we follow through or we adhere to 100% of what the comprehensive CDP is all about, but is along that line. Okay, what is our key function? We plan, we promote, we process. We don't intend to take over any of the duties or tasks done by all the ministries. That's not our intention. Because if we do that, and then we take all the jobs, they will left with no jobs. So what we intend to do is to help, to enhance. We try to plan, we try to facilitate. This is our task is all about. So we don't intend to, don't get us wrong, that IRDA is set up to take over some of the duties. No, we are not doing that. And the Prime Minister kept telling that to us all the time. You do not take over any duties of the government sector or any agencies. You are there to help, to enhance and to facilitate. So this is something which I think I need to constantly remind myself especially. Okay, this is organizational structure. So we have a unique 2 chairmen, as in Prime Minister and Chief Minister of Johor. We usually, the IRDA board, for example, we meet probably three months once. So we're meeting again. All of them are coming in this Friday, hopefully, to Johor. So usually we meet and then we table whatever our concern and all that. So it's very unique because if things not done, we just tell them and then it get done. So far it's like that. So hopefully. So we have also advisory council. And by the way, just to mention a very unique point, Robert Kwok, this is the only organization that he volunteers to be in. So besides his business, of course. Okay, we also have a service center. Okay, it is a one-stop center agency. What it does is it facilitates activities to attract and retain people in the business, making the IRDA a place to invest, work, live, and play. What they basically do is actually they act as a place whereby you can ask questions, you can do inquiries and all that. So we have people calling from all over the world, and there are times whereby they don't speak English, they don't speak Malay, so we have problems, so we get back to them with whatever language that they had. So we have that problem also, but it's a good challenge. I think it goes to show that sometimes we wonder, Iskandar is very well known outside of Johor, outside of Malaysia, very well known. Sometimes we wonder whether it is something wrong with our marketing or something is not right, but we are addressing that, and we also have few programs that we want to address that and trying to get the local populace to understand what is IDR. We had people from Russia who came in and told us that IDR is very popular in Russia. So I don't know whether it's right or wrong. So this is basically what we have. Before I touch on per se as far as this presentation is concerned, I'm going to touch a bit more on the collaboration for university industries. Okay, these are the investment that we had. Okay, look at this, all these investment. It's actually, this is the latest that I conjure from March of this year. So as you know, we are actually, we are trying to get more investors to come in, and these are all the major investors that come in. Of course, we don't include small investors, mostly are MNCs, and we are trying to get them to appreciate, coming into to Iskandar. What I would like to also remind universities is also that all these companies that come in, they are trying to find unique ways of collaboration. They are trying to discover new product, new services, new processes, which I think universities have to help to collaborate. I think it is important that constant dialogues that you have been doing is crucial, that we have that. This kind of platform is very good. It's very excellent. On one hand, for example, we also have business roundtable talk. What we intend to do is the municipalities have mentioned to us many times that they cannot get businesses to come in and to do a roundtable talk. What essentially this roundtable talk is about is like this: they can come in, we have plenary session, and they will reveal to us what are their issues and problems that they have. So what we do is that we gather all that, and then we try to solve, or at least help them solve, or at least address that at a different level. So that's what we're trying to do, and we realize that it's very popular because usually when we invite about 30, it becomes 130 or 150. So a lot of people like to come in and maybe just want to voice their frustration, to somebody. So IRDA is there to probably help them to listen. It was very good. It was very comprehensive, and I think the outcome of that needs to be shared with other agencies. That's what I think, and I've addressed that, and I mentioned that. And I think one of the agencies is Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, or Ministry of Higher Education. At the same time, trying to get the universities to come in. And sometimes, and this has happened many, many times. I've mentioned to other universities in UTHM, UTM, UITM. Whatever that the industries are facing for the past 5-10 years could be solved, or could have already been solved by having universities to come in. And especially what interesting is at a very, very, very good cost, which is minimal compared to getting a consultant to come in. There was a true case. Universities charge about 250,000 to a company, an MNC company, whereby they nearly signed to pay about 4.2 million to a consultant to solve a problem. It's a simple research problem. Okay, so I think universities have that. I don't know whether they say that universities come cheap. So I think there's something that universities need to address, so that you won't charge too low, so that they will come back to you again. Okay, okay. This is actually all the development that I have mentioned earlier about mostly housing, residential, technology park. These are the areas which I think have. It looks very cluttered, but actually, what I intend to do is to show you a bit about some of the coastal roads. I got no pointer here, but this is basically the coastal road, whereby you can see in pink there, just beside Pasir Gudang. All this is coastal road they're going to have. They also need to do a lot of assessment, a lot of studies, which I think universities have to come in and help JKR IRDA. Okay, how do we go about doing this? I think a lot of times, universities have to also keep pace with what the development is all about. Coastal road is now in progress. They've identified the lands. There's some squatter problems, which I think need to be addressed also. And there's also some environmental problem that we need to address also. But at the same time, I think sometimes universities have technology that I think we locals don't have, as far as industry is concerned. So I think this also need to be addressed as far as that. Apart from that, if you can see, the southern side of it is all brownfield, and the northern side, whereby Senai Kula area is all about, it still has a lot of green fields, a lot of development still not being identified yet. But basically, we have that in mind because we want to try and promote not only housing, but also housing is a very important perspective of the local populace. But at the same time, we need to have proper planning as far as this is concerned. I think a lot of studies need to be done, a lot of research need to be done before anything is carried out as far as development is concerned. So you can see that in actual fact, the development is there. We are trying to get as many research institutes and also universities to come in and help. But at the same time, we also like to mention to you that we don't have currently a sure-cut platform to say what is available. It's just that we need to get that, we want to address that and trying to get maybe, like what I said earlier, the roundtable talk is concerned for the business. So we're going to amplify that and have the same thing, the same setup with Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, which we're going to have a meeting with them in 3 weeks' time. So what I intend to do is to get them to also collaborate with us, and they could find probably, not necessarily universities in IDR area. It could be, UKM has expertise in certain areas which we are in need of. So we are trying to get all the universities' expertise into one. So as I was telling Dato' Hassan said, I think we have to get a database of some sort whereby all the universities are there, and then we can get expertise in certain areas that we want to. Okay, coming back to this, as I mentioned to you, I think I keep saying that the basic foundation to have all these main pillars is actually trying to set up the human capital development into a workforce which is very relevant to the industries. By having that, try to understand not only universities, we also have to go to MECD, ILP, Jabatan Tenaga Manusia, Human Resource. We got to go through Kementerian Pendidikan, Pelajaran. So there's a lot of various ministries we have to work along with. But in this context, I think if you look at all the main pillars, it's very crucial that UTHM identify, for example, certain areas that they are very comfortable. They are SMEs, subject matter expert, SMEs in certain areas, and we have to divulge on that and try to extend that to the industries. We believe that we play a role of tripartite involvement. Which means the universities industries are there to collaborate, but the government should come in and if not make it to expedite it, so to help and ease whatever that the collaboration is all about. So in actual fact, the tripartite synergistic environment, which I'm going to show later, is a good example. That we need to expand on that. If you look at it, I'll give you an example. Okay, EduCity. EduCity, latest is that University of Newcastle, the medical faculty, have come in and signed an agreement to set up their branch here in EduCity. This is more why they are trying to, they're not trying to bring the whole university set up here. They're trying to bring only the faculty which is popular. Okay, and they have 3 more universities, overseas universities, that they have identified they're going to bring in. But like I said, they're not going to announce it until everything is cast in stone as far as the agreement is concerned. But basically, the reason why EduCity is set up in, if you can see, it's a JESNAC area, not one area, is because they intend to get universities to be up in line with the industries in collaboration, in some synergistic approach in trying to get all of it done. So the main idea is to get universities or the transfer of knowledge and technology into the realm of development in this area. Okay, as I mentioned to you earlier, the gap is always there, will always be there, but our task, as far as IRDA is concerned, is to do programs, intervention programs to at least proliferate the gap to be lower, smaller, or if not, eliminate it entirely. Of course, amelioration of the gap would be almost impossible. Studies have found, but at least we could try to shorten it, because I think to do that we need time and we need competency. So which means time is where we need to plan, competency is where we need to execute the plan into reality. So I hope that by having that intervention program which we have, I cannot reveal to you the programs that we have, but we are in the process of having all that program now, and is subject to, as I mentioned earlier, the approval of the board. So if the board approve, we should get it running in a couple of weeks, and then it will be more known for everybody. As I mentioned again, the tripartite synergistic approach is something which I think we need to work on to move Iskandar to a global, to understand the global knowledge economy. What we intend to do is to have government, which is basically IRDA, to help the industries and universities collaborate and to produce at least a competent and very international workforce so that we could achieve Iskandar metropolis standing. But this is, mind you, that Iskandar is not only there for Iskandar Johor only. The ripple effect will be felt whole of Malaysia. It's just that it's just something which I think, as you know, there's 5 corridors. We need to make sure that Iskandar succeed so that we can help the other corridors. It's not easy to do that, but I think at some point of time we need to get that into perspective before we move on. As I mentioned, we do a lot of planning. Of course, usually this thing is thrown to us, top down. So we do a lot of planning, but at the same time we've got to also entertain a lot of program which is on the ground. So it's not an easy task to do, but I think we are trying our best to do that. Okay. What I just want to touch a bit on some of the things that mentioned by earlier by Puan Fazila on SMEDEC adventure, SMEDEC initiative, or trying to get a lot of initiative for universities. I think universities must also try to involve in things from government agencies, not only from SMEDEC but also from us, having that constant dialogue. I think it's very crucial, because by having that, not only formal dialogues, but I think informal activities, we could get that going. I think it's very crucial for us to have a lot of industries and industries collaboration, not only at formal level, because I think once you have informal level, you are at ease, you can get more things going. Prof. Gomez even mentioned about specific research, initiative. I think UTHM has done quite a bit in trying to get a lot of government grants and with the intention of getting a lot of research done on IDR, which I think is a good move. We are trying to get a lot of industries also to be involved in trying to get agencies to come in and help us. So we are playing that game whereby we have the industries on one hand, and then we have the government agencies on the other hand, and we have universities on the other hand. So we're trying to get all that together. In many ways, I think these issues involve human capital development. And rest assured you, we have already have plans to have a holistic approach towards the human capital development in IDR. We're trying to get people to be a top priority as far as asset is concerned, so that we can get them to come in and help us. But by helping us, I think we can also help IDR. There are also many thoughts of school of thoughts as far as university is concerned. At some point, some would say that universities are supposed to mold an educated person. But on the other school of thought, saying that universities should forget about molding a person, but should concentrate more on fulfilling industrial needs. So I leave it to you to decide. But basically, the bottom line is also still that my concern is these graduates that comes out, if they have no job, they create social problem. They create not only social problem as a fact, but also create a lot of economical and political problems. So I think the challenge is for universities to also address that issues of unemployed graduates, as you know. We are trying to get people to also understand, that to be competitive, to be innovative, as per the report that came out last year with EPU, IPM Office and World Bank, it states clearly that, they are trying to assess the universities in Malaysia and see how does this can be translated into a policy whereby we could be competitive, at the same time we could be innovative, so that we can create a competitive advantage over the other nations. But what is more important is this. As far as, for example, IDR development is concerned, we need to address the fact that there are many areas of collaboration that needs to be looked into. So I think our task in IRDA is to find out clearly where is the platform, where is the mechanism, and how can we address that. We have in our roundtable talk, for example, let me share with you, one of the things that most of the CEOs mentioned is that they said that our local graduate lack competency in English, and then for those who are, especially those who are Malay graduates, and those who are non-Malay graduates, lack bahasa as their competency. But at the same time, they also mentioned that a lot of soft skills, like communication skills, are very, very lacking in university graduates. So it could be also a problem which I think need to be addressed. But it's just to share with you some of the problem. But if you look at all the other human capital development issues, there's a lot more to that. We're talking about universities, lecturers, and all that. So I think the development not only has to fall on the graduates, it also has to fall upon the lecturers, the administrators, and all that. So I think if all the research institutes and universities were to collaborate together with industries, I think it could be a good synergistic partnership for all concerned. In many ways, I think also a lot of industrial players must know what are universities capable of. So I think UTHM, let's say any other universities and all that, have to have something that they can rely upon as far as collaboration and subject matter expert is concerned. So we hope that by doing all that, we can try our best to make sure that all this collaboration and approach for the benefit of the benefit of Malaysia, and to even have lessen the wastage, lessen the years of unsolved problem. For example, the students coming in, graduate coming in and not having to get jobs and all that. So by doing that, we hope to, like I said, minimize the gap. At the same time, we are trying our best to make sure that all these gaps that's been addressed, will be addressed so that we can at least uplift our nation to a competitive advantage over other nations. Okay, with that, I think I stop here, and maybe later we can answer questions. Okay, thank you very much.